What's up, guys and gals? Welcome to the first episode of our Let's Play of Sid Meier's Pirates. It is on now. This is one of my favorite games of all time. Like, it's in my top 5. And every time somebody asks me to tell them what my top 5 favorite video games are, I tell them that it's impossible. The top 5... For example, I can't tell you what's number 5 on my list because number 5 and number 1 are held in equal regard. And so basically it's like my top 5 games, but they're not in any sort of respective order. I truly believe that Sid Meier's Pirates, the 2005 remake, is probably one of the it's probably one of the greatest video games ever made. And that's not praise that I give very lightly. It took me an entire lifetime to come to that decision. There's like this game, I enjoy this, Fable, Shadowrun for the Sega Genesis, and much beyond that point, I can't really think of anything that I like that much. Sid Meier's Pirates is a game that I probably haven't booted up in about 2 or 3 years, but it's a game that I've beaten on every difficulty save the highest one. I haven't been able to beat Montalban on the highest difficulty just because his dueling is very, very difficult on the highest setting, but I've done everything else. So if it's in the game, I've done it on the highest setting. We will not be playing on the highest setting today because I don't really enjoy the game that much on the highest setting, and so I'd rather keep it light, keep it fun, and sort of explain the game as we go along and share something that I'm passionate about with you. It's so rare that I get to play a game on the channel that has had such a major impact on my life, and Sid Meier's Pirates is one of those games that I continuously come back to. And so if you don't know what Sid Meier's Pirates is, or if you're too young to know, or if it's just a game that you've never even heard of, Sid Meier's Pirates is a game in which you take control of a pirate captain starting at the age of 20, I believe, and you play along with him throughout his entire life, sailing through the Caribbean, robbing, pillaging, and plundering, getting into trouble, getting married, going to awesome dances, getting your two-step on, throwing out that walk, just, yeah, there it is. You know, making sure that along the way you're doing a little bit of a do-si-do while you're in there, but it's a really fun game. There's a lot beneath the hood of this game. There's a lot of mini-games, a lot of weird things to do, and so I'm so pleased to have you all along with me. Let's go ahead and get started. Nope, I think that our cinematic bugged out. The thing with those old cinematics is that sometimes they just don't work properly. And so I don't know what I think it's because they used direct draw or something like that back in the day, and nobody uses that anymore. And that's why old cinematics just don't work, because it's just simply not programmed for. And so you can see my last name when I played was The Bastard, which I think is a pretty awesome name for a pirate. I mean, you gotta start with something threatening, but I think in this case, I'm gonna go with, we're gonna do like a Full House throwback. I mean, Mildew. There we go. And so we'll do something that references back to my childhood. And if you can tell me what episode that's from, I will be incredibly impressed, because that is definitely a reference to an old show from the late 80s and early 90s. Now we're probably going to play, I could play on Rogue. Swashbuckler I've played on, and I've almost beaten the game on Swashbuckler. I've made it all the way to the final countdown, but just couldn't bring it home. Like, I was on the 5-yard line, and I just couldn't bring it into the end zone. I've beaten it on Rogue, and I've beaten it on Adventurer. I find Adventurer to be the most fun, and since this is going to be a fun playthrough, well... You look, right here, he puffs out his chest more and more. I mean, if I was a pirate of even an apprentice value, I would puff my chest out. I'd be like, ha-ha! But then, you know, what are you going to do? So, since the cinematic bugged out, essentially what happened is our family was taken into bondage by the Marquis de... I think his name is... Well, I think he gets a title or something like that later. But anyways, he's the Marquis de la Montalban. And so we owed him money, and we were going to send a fleet to the New World to make some money and bring it back. Well, the fleet got waylaid and destroyed, so he came back to collect the debt, and so now we are an adult. We ran away into the night when he kidnapped our family, and so the point of the game is to find your entire family, get married, and make as much money as possible while contending to become the best pirate in the Caribbean. And this should be a pretty fun playthrough, I think. So the first thing we have to do is choose our difficulty level. I will probably go... Nah, we'll stick with Adventurer for now. I mean, I've played it on all difficulties, but considering it's been a couple of years since I played last, we can change the difficulty anyways as we play through the game. So if we find that Adventurer is too simple for us, then we can bump it up every time. So essentially the game is kind of constructed into phases, and at the end of each phase you distribute the wealth to all of your pirates, and each time you distribute the wealth you can choose whether you want to raise the difficulty or not. So we can raise the difficulty later if we feel like it. I'll probably leave it on Adventurer for now because it is the sweet spot. I find that Adventurer is the most fun, and the reason, I'll tell you the difference. So, the combat and whatnot does not get that much more difficult between Rogue and Swashbuckler. The thing that makes it kind of tedious to play on higher difficulties is that the wind gets more difficult to deal with, and so it just becomes obnoxious. I don't have fun dealing with the wind because the wind is always going to the west in this game. You very rarely get an eastward wind, and so you can't go left forever. Eventually you're going to run out of land, and you're going to have to go right on the map, and once you have to go east, I just don't like contending with the wind. It's not even the difficulty of the combat. Like, the combat is still reasonably fairly simple, even on higher difficulties. It's just the wind that I don't feel like dealing with, and I don't feel like using a mail carrier and using a tiny ship the entire game. I want to use awesome ships, and so in order to keep the awesome ships viable, I would say that you kind of have to play on Adventurer. I think for our skill, you get 5 choices here. Fencing makes you better at fighting. It gives your enemies a penalty to their fencing modifier, and it gives you a bonus to your fencing modifier. Gunnery makes you have better ship battles, I guess, but your aim, I mean, you kind of aim manually anyways, so I guess it probably decreases spread or something like that, because frankly, the game, it's pretty easy to aim even if you don't take that. Navigation, it allows you to travel faster if you're sailing into the wind. You probably have to take that one if you go on Swashbuckler, although I would recommend Medicine. Medicine is kind of the proper choice. Medicine is the one that we're going to be taking. Medicine allows you to live longer before your character gets sick, and so it basically tacks a few years onto the end of your life and makes you get sick slower. It's a very, very good thing if you're trying to play the game over the long term, like we will, so we're going to be taking Medicine here today. My second choice is Navigation. If you're playing on higher difficulties, I would say to go with Navigation instead of Medicine, although it's still debatable. I still probably say that Medicine is probably the most useful, followed by Navigation closely, but the gap in between the gap of usefulness closes the higher difficulty you're on. It could go either way. If you're on Swashbuckler, I'd probably go with Navigation or Fencing. I guess all the abilities become more useful depending on the higher difficulty, but still, Medicine and Navigation remain probably the 2 most useful. Let's see here. We can choose our time period, and so the time period is going to dictate what settlements are around and also who controls what, because there are different factions. You've got the Dutch, you've got the English, you've got the French, and you've got the Spanish. The Pirate Sunset is probably the hardest one to be playing in, because Pirate Sunset, there's going to be lots of pirate hunters. Pirates are kind of waning by that point. Buccaneer heroes, it's the golden age of piracy. I usually go for the War for Profit, because this is when Spain is at war with everybody, and so I don't typically play Spain. We won't be playing Spain. Actually, Spain is probably one of the most difficult factions to play as, because it's very tough to make money. There's no treasure fleets. It becomes a pain in the ass, and we'll explain that as we go along. So we're going to go with 1640. I think that'll allow us to kind of transition into Buccaneer heroes right about the time that we'll be thinking about maybe upping the difficulty. Well, we'll go with it. We'll go with it. Continue! And so now, we need to choose a faction. He says we need to... Ye need to sign on as part of a crew. The captains at yonder tables will gladly take ye aboard. There be French, Spanish, Dutch, and English ships. I'm looking for able-bodied lads such as yourself. Take your pick. And so I almost made it. I had to laugh. And so we've got the French, we've got the Spanish, we've got the Dutch. He looks like he's probably in Children of Bodom or something. He definitely has kind of this whole, I don't know, Alexi Lejo thing going on, or however you say his name. I don't know if I want to go with the Dutch or the English. It sort of depends. The Dutch is they're probably my favorite choice. The Dutch allow you to get started on kind of even footing, and they have a lot of ports in random places that make your life a little bit easier. However, they don't have a lot of ports, so they have, like, I think they have 3 main ports, but they're all over the place. Like, they have 2 in the north and 1 in the south, and then after that you can kind of just make them wherever you want, whereas the French are in the north of the map and in the east of the map, but they don't have anything in the south, so you've got to make kind of a long run whenever you want to drop off supplies. The British, or I'm sorry, yeah, the British are all in the east and in the north. much like the French, although they do have one port in the southeast, and they have a couple ports out in the west, although they're smaller. Let's go with the English today. I think that I'll go with I am a colonial cousin, I suppose, and so I will go with our friends from across the pond. There we are. Greetings. Oh, we have alliteration. Mr. Mildew. We sail with the tide. Okay, and so off we go on our piratical adventures to rescue our family and make a ton of money. When we serve that revenge, it is going to be on just the most golden gilded plate ever. And I apologize for the resolution. The maximum resolution in this game is like 1280 by 960. I have no idea what YouTube is going to do to this video once I put it up there. It's probably going to do all kinds of terrible things with the rubber band or with the black banding, and just, it's going to be bad. It's going to be bad. So the first thing we want to do, we're in St. Kitts, or St. Kittitus, if you decided to do that phonetically, all the way, sound it out, go all the way through. We gotta talk to the governor first. My dear Mr. Mildew, please come in. That's how I imagine he sounds. You may be interested to know that we are at war with the evil Spanish. I am pleased to offer you a letter of marque which authorizes you to plunder and sink the ships of our enemies. As this map will show, the nearest enemy city is the Spanish city of San Juan, which lies a long distance to the west. Yeah, we're probably not going to be going out there. We're firing torpedoes on the map at them. Kapachoo, kapachoo. I am about to send the brig King Charles to blockade San Juan. Perhaps you would like to tag along and pluck a few Spanish prizes. I don't want to pluck anything. That seems like I'm doing a little bit too much of a favor. You know, people in the modern time, he couldn't know this, but in modern time, people pay money to have other people pluck them. And so no, we will not be plucking anybody. No, thank you. Good day, Mr. Mildew. And so now we probably want to go to the tavern. I mean, there's a couple things. So every single town is going to give you all of the same options. We can talk to the governor. You'll want to do that every now and again to turn in ships and to check in and make sure that you haven't gotten promotions. You can go to the tavern, which allows you to recruit more crew. You can talk to this guy in the back to buy stuff. And so he wants to offer information about his recent visit to Rio de la Hacha. Yeah, not really that interested. You can also talk to this lady. It's rumored that the... How the hell do you... That is the most complicated name ever. The Shorpoian. The Shorpion. I'm just going to call it the Scorpion because I bet that's what the translation is bound for San Juan, is carrying over 1,000 in gold. I believe she's a Dutch sloop, the barmaid whispers. A sloop-a-doop. Okay, and so it's actually right there. We should probably get on that if we could take them. I don't know if we're at war with them right now, though. You can also talk to the barkeep, who will give you little bits of information about the comings and goings in politics. And so the governor of St. Martin has a beautiful daughter. That's important because the game judges you by how hot your wife is at the end. I shit you not. You get a rating of how hot your wife is at the end of the game, and that is factored into how good of a pirate you were. If you have... If you have a wife who looks like she just got beat with an ugly stick or something, it takes points away from you. I didn't make the rules. Don't hate the player, hate the game. That's all that I have to say right now. I am not standing in judgment, nor shall I be judged by Sid Meier's. Go ahead. If you want to shoot harpoons at Sid Meier's, go ahead. But I'm just saying, we have to have a hot wife to get the most points. We have a crew over here. I'm actually going to, yeah, let's take all 49 of them. And so this guy especially looks like he's ready to throw. That guy walks with swag, though. That guy right there, you know he gets in fights at the bars. That guy, every time you take him down to the strip in your hometown, he's throwing punches at somebody. We've got the letter of mark, or the marquis, if that's how you want to pronounce it. The merchant allows us to sell and buy goods. We've only got 3 months worth of food, but we don't have much money. So we'll probably want to raid and pillage and take somebody's stuff before we go much further. We can also go to the shipwright where we can buy upgrades for our ship. We can also sell ships if we've taken enough of them. Oh good, we have the proper flag. That's good because sometimes it just doesn't have the right flag. We can check our status right here, and you can go through a number of different... Oh, we start at 18 and in excellent health. Okay, so our crew of 75 is very, very happy because we are about to pillage and plunder and take other people's stuff because that's what we do as pirates. We start with the sloop Revenge. No, it's not going to be the Revenge. It's going to be the NCE Mollywhopper. There we go. The NCE Mollywhopper. And so off we go. We can look at all kinds of stuff here. The top 10 pirates. You will see that Mildew, we're last. We are not very good at pirating right now. Our skills at piration, very, very low. Let's set sail. And so I'm actually, God, the game is going so quickly right now. Oh, is that the scorpion? Is that the scorpion? I attack you, Dutch smuggler. The Hongrage de Wolf. Okay, well, we need your food. Oh, he's shooting things at me. And this is how a naval combat goes. Did he hit me with that one? We've got the wind in our favor. Oh, and we're going to dodge another. Oh, we got hit by one, unfortunately. My pirating skills, my skills at navigation are lackluster. I'm actually just going to board him because it's easier that way. And I'm going to practice doing this with the numpad. So before we go any further, your ships collide with a mighty crash. As your crew rushes to attack, the enemy captain approaches with his sword drawn. I typically go with the longsword. It gives you a versatile defense and a versatile attack. Oh, that's not what I wanted. Okay, so let me get my controls back here. It's been a while since I've played last, and I am doing this with the numpad. I typically actually do this with the mouse, so it's going to take me a little bit of time to get used to this. And so if my commentary suffers right now, you will have to bear with me. I can do this with the mouse much better than I can do it with the numpad, but I think it's about time that I force myself to learn to do this with a numpad. And so off the ship he goes. Basically the way that the combat works is if he does the thrust attack, you've got to press 5. If he does the attack where he leans forward and swipes backhandedly at you, you've got to do 8. And if he reaches forward and tries to like pimp slap you, you've got to do 2. And doing that effectively, you will avoid his attack, and then you can choose to either hit him with the 1, the 4, or the 7 key, each of which will do a different attack, a slash, a thrust, and a chop, respectively, I think. The slash and the chop knock him back 2 steps, whereas the thrust only knocks him back 1 step, and everything that works for you works for him. Just be aware that that's sort of how the combat works. I'm explaining it a little bit terribly, but that's, you know, you saw that I won. I don't typically do combat with the numpad, although I should. We're going to keep the ship, and it's going to take 8 of our 42 crew to keep her sailing. We're going to take all of their loot because we need more food. And so now the next thing that we want to do is we are looking for, there it is, the Shorpoan, or the Scorpion. We want to take this guy out right here because he's got cash on hand. I don't even think we're at war with the Dutch right now. Let's have a look because we can't affect politics. Oh, we are at war with the Dutch. No, they're at war with the Spanish. Okay, so we are not at war with the Dutch. The French are, though, and so we may be able to leverage our bets with the French in capturing all this. Let's go ahead and we will capture the Scorpion. Oh, we're going to take a hit right there, I think. In general, you don't want them to take the right side. Yeah, we're sailing into the wind now, so this may not go very well for us if we're trying to board. So let me bring this back since he's going to outmaneuver us. And I may actually, let's regroup because I'm trying to board him anyways. Let's regroup because he's got the wind now. I made a mistake with my approach. That was very, very foolhardy of me. And so what we need to do now... Okay, so we're stuck in kind of this perpetual battle, unfortunately. Where we can't really escape. But we don't want to fight him either because he has really the dominant position right now. I'm gonna wait. We're just gonna kind of see what he does. This is really actually super terrible because we can't get away from him. I think what I would like to do, and those are all going to be well behind him, we want to force him to sail into the wind for a second. And we'll just outmaneuver him, essentially. Although he is really, really outdoing us right now. There we go. That's what we were looking for. We wanted the AI to mess up, and mess up they have. Now he can't turn without us boarding him. Although he is going to try and hit us with some chain shot. Off we go. Okay, so we finally brought that one around. I was hoping the AI would do something like that. Let me make sure that my finger positioning is proper here. And so we've got a duck right there. If you time it just right, you get a counter blow. In case you were wondering what I'm trying to do here. So we'll go ahead and return right there. Let's go ahead and we'll take a slash. Because we've got those extra weapons on the ground, and off he goes. This should allow us to take some of the gold. And so victory is now ours. I'm going to go ahead and click off right there. 9 sailors want to join our crew of 29. Welcome aboard. We take 1,500 gold pieces, which is no slouch. That's actually quite a bit of cash. We got 12 tons of spices. We've got 8 guns. We've got 20 tons of food. We're going to go ahead and keep her. Take all of the loot. And then while we're here, we're going to take it back to port for now. And actually, the people that we really, really, really want to raid, because that'll give us a little bit of love with every single faction, we actually want to go mess with the Spanish, because they're at war with everybody right now, which means that we can acquire a letter of marque from every single faction on the map by attacking them. We also want to check in with the French over at Antigua and at Naval, so we may do that as well. Let's go ahead and pop into port right now. And we will... let's talk to the governor first and see if we got a promotion. And so, as you know, we're at war with the evil Spanish. Oh, we didn't get anything for that. Okay, that's fine. Not that worried about it. We'll sell off some of these spices right here because the price seems to be right. That'll give us a little bit more cash. We don't want all of this food. That's way too much food. We'll go ahead and drop that down to like 6 months worth, maybe. We'll also sell off some of these guns because I don't think we're going to be able to use that many. I think 16 is the maximum a sloop can use. We may be able to use 20. I can't remember. We'll sell off this guy right here. We'll sell off... we'll sell off that guy right there. We could upgrade to fine grain powder, which allows us to load a little bit faster, I think. But we're going to save it for right now. I'm not really planning on fighting with anybody. Can I have repairs? Okay. So we don't need any repairs. It looks like we actually did better at dodging than I thought we did. There's nobody here ready to be recruited. The mysterious traveler offers to sell us the quality spyglass. It increases our visibility. Nah. There's a lot of passive items you can buy in this game, and they all do various things that make your captain better at whatever it is that he does. Just be aware that those items are available and that some... oh, Naval is owned by the English during this period. Okay. So we'll want to avoid that. Let's go ahead and we're going to swing down Montserrat. We might be able to go ahead and get ourselves a letter of marque from the French, and then we will head out to plunder the Spanish. And so he's at war with the Spanish and the Dutch. I understood that you captured a Dutch sloop. Excellent. The king will be pleased. And there's the letter of marque. So that's exactly what we need. And so he's going to let us know that there's ships flying around. We're going to disregard that for right now. And we're going to sail on away. So let's go down to the south. We're going to try and make friends with the Dutch. That was kind of just a passing middle finger that we gave them right there. We were like, hey, Dutch people, give us your gold. And they were like, okay, here's our gold. And then hopefully after we capture a few more ships off to the south, they will forget that we ever did all of those evil things to them, and then allow us to go to, let's see here, the port that we're going to be using pretty extensively down in the southwest is going to be, where is it? Curacao. That's where we want to go. And so we're going to try and swing down this way. We'll mess with the Spanish around here, around Margarita, and out towards, yeah, we're just going to kind of dither around Margarita. We'll beat up the Spanish down here for a little while, upgrade our ship slightly, then we'll go to Curacao to drop in the plunder. Kind of do a big roundabout run. Essentially, this game may get repetitive for some of you, but I find the game to be incredibly pleasurable. We lost a lot of crew in that fight. Maybe it took me too long to kill the enemy off, I'm not sure. We're booking along. There's nothing that we want to do down here. We'll keep an eye out for legendary pirates along the way just in case. We'll probably also try and dock in Margarita first to get ourselves some new crew members. Oh, there's Jean Lafitte. We can take him if we wanted to. I mean, he's outpacing us right now pretty substantially, but if we beat up Jean Lafitte, we can get his gold. And I don't think Jean Lafitte is actually that respected of a pirate in the top 10. Oh no, Jean Lafitte's actually pretty far up the list. Never mind. Jean Lafitte is up there. And it looks like he's beating up a Spanish smuggler right now. Can we take Jean Lafitte from where we stand? I'm not sure. I'm not sure. Let's try it out. Let's see if we can take him. If we can take him, this is going to be pretty incredible for an early game boon. I think I can outfight him, but we want to keep the wind on our side. We want to avoid getting shot as much as possible because he does have us out-crewed. Now, you might be saying, all pirates are crewed. Why does that matter? Well, because he has more crew, that means that our leeway in this fight right here is going to be a lot more slender than we would normally accept it. I'm going to take the longsword. I don't know how fast he's going to be, but we'll give it our best go. Oh, he's slow. He took the cutlass, so we should be able to take this pretty quickly. I'm actually just going to press our advantage as fast as possible, because if you look at the bar in the center of the screen, the advantage is for the fight right here. The greater the advantage, the slower he attacks. And then we actually are going to run out of pirates pretty soon, and if we run out of pirates, he wins. Skills. Skills to pay the bills. Take that, you mustachioed bastard. You codpiece-wearing knave. And off into the water he goes. And so early in the game, we've already taken out Jean Lafitte. Now, why did we want to do that? Why are we beating up other pirates if we're a pirate? Well, it gives us prestige with every single faction. He's got a ton of money on board, and one of the pirate crewmen is a skilled gunner who can train gunners in rapid firing. He's quickly persuaded to join our crew. We held his nuts over the fire. I mean, this right here is about as far as pirate persuading goes. And we get 11 sailors, that's good. And he had, ooh, how much money did we make here? The sound of that clink. Allow it to clink. Oh, yeah. We got 5,800 gold pieces from Jean Lafitte. We got a little bit of spice. We got a ton of food. We got 20 guns. We also took his ship, the brig that he had going. And so I may actually upgrade to the brig for now. I mean, it's going to be slower than the ship that we have going, but it may. So the sordid career of the fourth most notorious pirate, Jean Lafitte, has come to an end. Off he goes. Why he's following me, I'm not really sure. Oh, that's right. They wanted us to escort him to the port of San Juan. We're not going to do that, by the way. I'm not really sure why he's following us because I don't care about that quest. It'll turn San Juan, I think, into a British port, but I don't care about it. That's pretty much the whole thing here. Let's go ahead and we'll get some more crew because we are out. He will sell us a piece of Jean Lafitte's buried treasure for 400 gold. We will take it. And so Jean Lafitte's treasure is in the vicinity of Trinidad. Okay. So since it's in the vicinity of Trinidad, we'll collect these pieces as we go along, but this is another one of the things that you're going to be doing over the course of the game, is getting those scraps of paper so that you can find his buried treasure. Every pirate has correlating buried treasure that will be super awesome down the line. We'll buy it, and it's rumored that there is a skilled quartermaster on board the Victoria's Enigma. I believe she's a English pinnace bound for Margarita in the bar. Okay, so it's actually coming here. Oh, but it's on a British ship. I don't want to beat that up because that's going to get me in trouble. Let's talk to the governor. And so we defeated Jean Lafitte and captured a pirate brig. And so they've actually promoted us to captain right now. Not really going to matter. When we reach the rank of colonel, let's see. The governor's attractive daughter enters the room.
My Mr. Mildew, you are quite a handsome young ruffian. Perhaps when you have achieved the rank of colonel, you could escort me to the grand ball.
That was my, I don't know, she's Spanish, but I got the wrong accent or something. That was just for funsies. And so, goodbye, Captain. So when you get to certain ranks, you can go to the ball with various maidens and have fun with them in various gentlemanly ways. And so I think I'm going to break the episode off right here. My name is Splattercat. Thank you for joining me in the Nerd Castle for the first episode of our Sid Meier's Pirates playthrough. This should be a fun playthrough because I love this game. I really do. I sincerely love this game a lot. And so I will see you all in the next episode. Take care out there, everybody, and hi-do.